Welcome to my final video of 2000 and what are we, 20? I forget, 2020. Now today's video is a little bit different to my normal content. It's less chatty, it's more of an informative one, but I recorded it this morning and I've recorded it from a conservatory that leads onto my kitchen, but I've watched it back and it's very bright. So I look a little bit scary in it, and there's a little bit of background noise. That's why I'm coming on to do this little bit of an intro now, because there's a little bit more of a dog noise at the start, and one of my dogs is kind of messing around, but she does calm down a bit. But there's seagull noise, chicken noise, so I apologise now. I'm going to post this video anyway. If you think, gosh, that was awful, I can redo it. I'll probably try and redo it in here because I think I get a little bit more peace and it's not so shockingly bright in there. But just see how you get on, and I'll send you over to the video now. But I just want to wish you all a happy new year, and I look forward to seeing you or recording for you in the new year. So I'll pop you over to my video recorded this morning. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome if you're new here. If you're a regular here, you'll see that I'm filming from a slightly different location. I'm not in my craft room, and you may hear a little bit of noise. I'm actually filming from a conservatory. It is making me look a little bit ghost-like because of all the light that's beaming in. It's a really sunny day, but if you don't mind that, that's okay. Oh, I've got a little visitor here, kind of trying to see, and you might get a little bit of noise because I do have a husband. He's actually down in the garden at the moment. I have 3 teenage sons. I think they're all in bed actually. I've got 2 dogs, 4 cats, and 3 chickens. So you might hear the odd little chicken squawking, saying I've laid an egg kind of noise. So but then the person that might be the biggest culprit with noise is probably Holly, who you might be able to see her tail wagging down here, and this is Rafe. He used to be in all my videos actually, but he started being a little bit of a monkey, didn't you? Yes. So today is all about doing an unboxing of my Coverstitch machine. I've had it for Christmas. I've never owned a Coverstitch machine before. I have researched them, so I know a little bit about them, but I've never used one, and I don't know a great deal about mine because I didn't actually order it. My husband ordered it for me, but from what I can make out of it, it seems to be like a mid-range sort of machine, and if I had purchased it myself, then that's probably what I would have gone for. But I'm going to open the box now and see what comes inside, so bear with me. So this is what the box looks like. It's the CoverPro 2000 CPX, and it's a Janome, and I'm about to open the box now. So the first thing I've come to is a piece of paper, and this is from this is where my husband has bought it from. It's Sewing Machines Direct, and I think they're in Wales, but so that's basically the receipt, and it appears that this machine has cost £529. Now I have seen this machine on John Lewis. I'm not sure what the price was, and I've had a look at the reviews, and the reviews are very good. So the first thing now I'm coming to appears to be the instructions. So I'm going to just put those aside for the moment. And the next thing I'm coming to is this. It appears to be a cover from a machine, which I'm really very pleased about actually, because it's always nice, isn't it, to have a machine, have a cover for your machine. And it feels kind of like rubbery. That's how I could describe it, but it is in plastic at the moment. And then I've come to a little box. I've got a box like this that I have with my one of my overlockers. I've got a Juki air overlocker, and this box looks identical. And I'll put that aside for the moment, and we'll talk about what's in it in a moment. Next, I found the power cable and the foot pedal. And then it's just all this packaging then, this white packaging to protect it. So I'll pop that out. One of it comes loaded with spools of thread, and one of them has just popped off as I've pulled that up. I'll reattach that in a moment. Right, it must have lifted this up as I pulled the thing out. So what I'm probably going to do now is put the box onto the floor so I can pick the machine out. I'm just going to put this extendable arm down because I don't want to risk breaking it. I might put this onto my chair actually. I'll just put my cushion to the side. There's threads that are dangling over the handle, so I'm just going to move those out of the way. It's not too heavy, actually. Heavy enough to feel sturdy, but not too heavy, you know, back breaking. Now, it doesn't appear that there's anything else in the box, so I'm going to pop the white stuff back in, and then I'll sit down and I'll talk about the machine. Right, you're not going to be able to see me now because I've lowered the camera so you can have a look at the machine. So this is the front of the machine that you can see, and this is where you'll be looking at it when you start sewing. So I'm going to turn it round now and lift up the arm and make sure the threads are in place. This is the back of the machine. So I'm now going to lift up the arm. And as I say, these threads came on the machine, but they're all a little bit tangled at the moment because it was the way I got it out of the box. This was the one that fell off when I lifted the packaging. So I'll just lift that up onto there. Now, from what I know about cover stitch machines, I'm just checking, this has got 3 needles, and these are going to be the needles at the top stitch that you see, and this is going to be the looper. Now this is what I already know about cover stitch machines, even though I don't own one, when I've done a little bit of research on them. Right, I haven't plugged the machine in yet, but I'm just going to talk about the things that came with it. So I'm just going to get the box. I've not opened it yet, and I'm going to open the instructions to see what it says at the start. It says it's got a warranty, and there's an extended warranty available, so I'm guessing that's something you could apply for. And it's got a product warranty here, and then there's a thing to say if I need any help, refer to your point of purchase, but if you need any further assistance, it's got Janome's contact details, so that's very good, isn't it? So this is the manual that comes with it. So the first part is going to be Know Your Machine. It's going to say the names of parts and the standard accessories. I'm sorry about the groaning, that's Holly. So, standard accessories. Sorry, I had to stop it then, the dog started to bark and I've just let them out. So, the first thing I can see in the box are these spool caps. So I recognise those because I've got different kind of machines and I've had those before. You get a screwdriver, actually you get 2 screwdrivers apparently. You get a large one and a small one. You get needles, and it says they're overlock surgeon needles. They're the ELX705, and they're the 80-90 thickness, or 12 or 14 depending on what you work with. I think it depends what country you're in actually. Then you get nets. I'm aware of these before because I've got them with my Juki overlocker. And you get how many of those? 4. 4 of those. Then number 4 on the list is a pair of tweezers. 7 is a lint brush. 8 is a needle threader. I'm sure I've had one of these before. Do you know when you recognise it, but I couldn't tell you where it is? So I have to have a bit of a practice with that. Then number 9, you get attachment screws, and they're for fixing optional accessories. Refer to the instruction sheet for the optional accessory. And then number 10, and that's what those look like. I'll show you the line drawings in a moment. And then number 10 is the accessory box. So it does appear that I've received everything that I should do in there. So that's something you should always check when you have something new. So that's the line drawing. Now I have ordered some extra things since I had this for Christmas. I have ordered some extra bits. One of them was needles. I did order ones that said they were Coverstitch needles, but they have sent overlocked needles. So I don't know if they're the same thing. I'm not too sure. But I have emailed So Essential where I ordered them from. And I ordered another couple of things and I'll just grab them. These are the needles I ordered, and it appears the ones I've ordered are exactly the same as the ones that have come with the machine. Ordered a clear view cover stitch foot, and it's for the CoverPro, the 3 needle type. And I thought sometimes that might be useful when you need some real, clear visibility. Oh gosh, excuse me. I thought, bash my funny bone on camera. Sorry about this. I'm trying to be a bit more professional than I usually am. Excuse me, dog barking. So I think the dogs are going to behave now. I thought it might be the family, but it's been the dogs that are playing up. Right, this is the attachment I ordered. I can't actually read the title of it, but it's for applying bias tape, and it says 42mm to 12mm. Now I thought this would be quite useful for making sportswear that has a binding on it, because you load your binding into it and you can attach, wind it through and then you sew it. But obviously I've not done it yet, but that's the intention. I have seen one of these used on a baby lock machine, and I'm guessing they're going to be a similar kind of thing. So I will look forward to using that in the future. The instructions are now telling me to get ready to sew, and they tell you to basically plug your machine in and turn it on. So that's what I'm going to do now. I haven't turned the machine on yet, but the switch for that is on my right hand side. The next page, it's telling you how to turn the hand wheel, and it says you always turn it towards you, and there's a diagram on there. Then there's instructions how to open and close the looper door, and it appears that you put your thumb in at the front and slide it across. I'll just try that now actually. Yeah, that's really easy. So you pull it across and it drops down, and that's what that shows you there, and that come open really easy. I'm sorry that I can't kind of show you, but it'd be really difficult to have. I probably could do with 2 cameras really, couldn't I, going back and forth, but I've only got the 1 camera. So I'm going to close that, and you can see, I'll just describe, because it's only got 1 looper stitch, you can just see 1 stitch going underneath. Obviously at the moment I don't need to learn how to thread it just yet, because it's already threaded. Then it talks about the extension table and saying that you can detach it by pulling away. So we'll try that. So that comes, yes, that comes off. And it says something about a pin. Oh, that's how you can get an extension table then, can you? I'm not too sure. Maybe you can get a larger bed for this. I'm not too sure. Then it talks about raising and lower the presser foot, and you do that from a lever at the back. So you can see I've just lifted that up. And it tells you how to remove the presser foot, and you do that by pressing something at the back. Of that, there's a little lever there that you press at the back, but I'm not going to take that off now. It's very much like, I've got like low shank sewing machines that like clip off feet kind of machine. Then you can adjust the pressure foot with this dial here, and it's not necessary to adjust the pressure foot for regular sewing apparently. When you're sewing heavyweight fabrics, you increase the foot pressure by turning the screw in the direction of the plus sign. And when sewing with lightweight fabrics, you turn it towards the minus sign. For regular sewing, align the screw on the top on the surface. So I think you have it kind of even either way, so halfway basically. Now it tells you how to adjust the stitch length. I'll show you the diagram. That's what I'm looking at. So that's suggesting there is a dial on the side. Yeah, it's quite clear. It's the next one down from the one we talked about turning towards you. And that's how you adjust the stitch length. And you can set it between 3 and 3.5. And it's pretty self-explanatory which direction you go, because there's a diagram showing how close they are and how far they are. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty easy to understand. And it says the larger the number, the longer the stitch. And the numbers appear to go from 1 to 4 from what I can see. Yeah, 1 to 4. Then, I'm sorry, you might be able to hear seagulls. We get a lot of seagulls here. And then it tells you about the adjustment of the differential feed ratio. And this is how your machine behaves when it's feeding your fabric through the feet, the way the teeth behave. And the dial for that is the lowest one down, and that's got numbers on it and has got a couple of pictures on it, which are the same as on my Juki overlocker. And it says, set the dial to 1.0 for regular sewing. Set the dial at a lower number when sewing fine fabrics that tend to pucker. Set the dial to a higher number when sewing stretch fabrics such as knits, jersey and tricot, if that's how you pronounce it properly. I suppose I'm going to learn more about this as I use it. Then it tells you how to change the needle. Now you change the needle by you turn the hand wheel towards you to raise the needle to its highest position. You loosen the needle clamp screws with the small screwdriver. So you can see the small screws in the front here, and that is what you do for changing the needles. Looking at the needles, they look like they're at staggered heights. So they kind of go do, do, do when they're in the machine, how I'm seeing them. So that's a good thing to remember actually, because you might think you've not put it in far enough, or you might not have done it right. It tells you how to use the needle threader and holder. So that little thing I showed you, it holds the needle and then you put it in like that. But obviously I'll learn more about that as I experiment with it. The next thing is setting the thread guide bar, and that is this. And it shows like a twisty line on this picture. I'll show you the picture, what I'm looking at. So maybe you can screw it on and off, I'm not sure. Then there's a thing about setting the spool caps. So I think that depending on what kind of thread you use, that's when you use different kind of things. So I'm guessing the spool caps, those are on at the moment. So there is a diagram of those under here. And I suppose if you're using smaller threads, then you'd have to take that off, and you might possibly use the net, because it can stop them becoming jammed. And I suppose if you're having an experience where the spools are coming flying off, that's where you'd use your spool caps. But again, I need to experiment with this machine. Then it talks about threading the machine. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about this right now because it's already threaded and I want to have a little go of it. So I don't really want to unthread it at the moment. But I don't think it's going to be too difficult to thread by the look of it. It says you bring the hand wheel towards you to bring the needle to the highest position. It looks like you lift the foot up at the back as well when you do that. And it says thread each needle in the following steps. So I might be getting this wrong, but at the moment it's talking about this one. Now often when you thread overlockers, you kind of work from this way to this way. I've got one where you go that way, that way, that way, that way. One that you can just go that way. So I don't actually know yet, but at the moment it's talking about this one. Now I've looked at the instructions for threading the machine and it looks pretty simple. And it did talk about threading the needles before it mentioned doing the looper. So I'm guessing that's the order that you would do it in. Now I've left all the settings as they are. The tensions are on 4, 4, 4 and 3. The foot pressure is midway. The stitch length is on 1, probably just a smidgen over. And the differential feed is on 3. Now I'm going to have a tiny little bash of just sewing a bit of knit fabric. This is interlock fabric. It's very soft. I'd say it's kind of like a medium weight jersey. Not as thick as a sweatshirt knit, but not a really lightweight knit, somewhere in between. So I'm going to have a little tiny bash at stitching it. Now there's a piece of paper under here and I'm just going to move that out of the way. Now I've just folded it over. I haven't measured it, but I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. The needles are catching a little bit. I think I need to raise them. Right. I turned it towards me like it said. Now there's no guides on here saying what your seam is basically. So if you wanted to put a guide on there, I think you could. So I'm just going to do it by feel. I'll see if that will lift. Yeah, that will lift up further. If you press that at the back, it will lift up further. I'll put the threads behind. Now I'm just feeling where that edge is and putting that presser foot down. I probably should have used less of a scrappy piece of fabric. This is what I was using yesterday to make a toaster sweater version 2, which I will talk about in my next makes video. I haven't turned it on, have I? That would help, wouldn't it? Right, so I don't know how this works. I'm going to raise the needles. I'm going to use it like a regular sewing machine. I'm going to lift up the presser foot. I've not got used to it yet, have I? Put them at the highest point. There we go. They seem to have come away now. Right, just bash my elbow again. Cut those. So that's what we're looking like. This is my first attempt with not adjusting any of the settings. That is a 3-thread cover stitch, and I'll just flip that over And that's what it's looking like at the back. Now that has totally encased that edge. So that's pretty awesome, isn't it? I'm really pleased about that. Like at the moment I've been using a twin needle on my sewing machine, and that's fine. I just have to change the needle, a twin needle.
Motion detected at the front door.
Excuse me. Oh, that's probably my son going out. Yeah, it's my son going out. Right, he's just going to the shop. And then I have to put an extra spool pin on the bobbin, and then I have to thread up the second thread and things. And that's totally fine. I did that yesterday on my toaster sweater, and I really like that. But having this really is a luxury, isn't it? If I can leave this set up all the time, and then when I want to do some hemming, it's all ready to go, isn't it? Apart from obviously if I want to change the colour of the threads. So it is quite a luxury item to have, isn't it? So I hope you enjoyed seeing my Coverstitch machine. I think I'm really going to enjoy having it actually, and it's gone quite well. Obviously I haven't had to thread it or anything yet, but I'll keep you updated on my channel with my journey along the way across, you know, all through 2021. Can you believe that? So all through 2021 I'm going to be using it, so I'll keep you updated and see what I think of it. And so far so good. I'm pretty impressed actually. And just to let you know, you don't have to have 3 stitches. You can have 2 stitches and you can have 1 stitch, and you can choose which ones you have in. So say if you wanted the space far apart or the space close together, you can choose which one you take out. But yeah, I'm really pleased. So far so good. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with my regular kind of content, and hopefully I'll look less ghost-like because I won't be in the conservatory. One more thing before I go. I just said my goodbyes on camera, but I'm going to have to cut that out and do my goodbyes again because I thought you might like to see the cover. I'll just turn the machine off. I'm guessing that you'll have to lower this. That's fabulous, isn't it? So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. And there's a hole for your handle as well. So thank you so much for watching my video today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I suppose this is probably the last video of this year, so I'm going to wish you a happy new year because it's actually New Year's Eve today. And I'll look forward to bringing you more content next year. Thank you for all the support that I've had this year. My channel has really grown quite dramatically this year, and I'm really appreciative, you know, the subscribers, the likes and the comments. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with another makes video, which is like my regular content and possibly some chat, because you know what I'm like. So thanks so much for watching. Bye.